Okay, hi year 12 and 13. So next up we have got demerit goods. So again, carrying on from your PowerPoint, if you just double check the slide on demerit goods, we've got the definition at the top, which is a good such as tobacco for which the social costs of consumption exceed the private costs. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky. Now, if you remember a couple of lessons ago when I gave you the guidance from our exam board and said that whenever we're talking about consumption activities, when we're looking at market failure, we are talking about the impact on benefits. So we said that consumption, if you can see that up here, consumption impacts on our benefits curves. So it impacts on our demand. So again, we're going to draw our axes. We've got the origin, we've got our costs and benefits on the Y, and we have got the quantity on our X. So for this activity, let's talk about alcohol consumption. Okay, so when we're talking about quantity, we're going to be talking about the quantity of alcohol. So again, let's go back to our golden rule. It's a consumption activity. So we make the assumption that our marginal social costs and our marginal private costs are the same. Okay, so we're looking at consumption as opposed to production. So in the short term, remember, we just consider the privately optimal level of consumption. So if we can draw on here, we'll make that a bit bigger, marginal private benefit of consuming alcohol. So if you think about the reasons why people consume alcohol, that derives our marginal private benefits. And they find the point where the marginal private cost, i.e. how much it's going to cost them to buy maybe a glass of wine, a glass of beer, and the benefit they'll derive from drinking that glass of wine or glass of beer. And where those two meet, this will determine how much they drink. So down here, if we put the privately optimal output, this is P1, Q1. So we will consume Q1 units of alcohol. What we haven't considered here is actually the knock-on effects, those negative externalities of alcohol consumption. So we looked at this when we looked at our lesson on negative externalities. We said, some of the knock-on effects on those third parties of drinking alcohol could be the antisocial behaviour that arrives as a result. So maybe the pressure on the police force, the strain on the NHS on a Friday, Saturday night because of people having to go in to get their stomach pumped, etc., etc. So all of these mean that actually the social benefits, those marginal social benefits of having that extra glass of wine, those extra, glasses of beer, are lower than the marginal private benefits. And we said here that this is a negative, if we just call this X here, it's a negative external benefit, which is the same thing. Oopsies, I spelled benefit wrong. Benefit, which is the same as an external cost. But because it's a consumption activity, we show that external cost, the strain on the NHS, the strain on the police, antisocial behaviour, by our marginal social benefits being less than our private benefits. So here, this area here is a negative external benefit, which is the same as an external cost. So if we were to consider these knock-on effects, those negative externalities on third parties, alcohol consumption would actually be lower. It would be the point where our marginal social benefits and our marginal social costs meet. So the socially optimum level of consumption is lower than the privately optimum. So that means free market provision of demerit goods leads to this overconsumption. If we were to just leave it to the free market, we'd be over-consuming alcohol. Therefore, we'd be overproducing alcohol. So in this case, consumers overestimate the benefits of drinking because they don't consider those long-term implications. So in a free market, we've just got too many scarce resources allocated to the production and the consumption of alcohol. So what happens is the government steps in to try to internalise that externality. So it could be taxation to make drinking more expensive. Okay, and all of these we're going to be looking at over the next few lessons when we look at government intervention. Again, any questions, just drop me an email and I will go through it. Thank you. Bye.